Oh, maybe we lost the connection. It might be working. Is it working? Good morning. Hello, everyone. We are live in the OHbaby office with Dorothy Waide. Hello, Dorothy.
Hi, Ali. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. How
Cool.
are you?
I'm really good. Looking forward to this session.
It's going to be fun. We caught up with Dorothy last week on Friday Live, and we talked about sleep. And we were inundated with questions, which was no surprise because sleep is an all-consuming issue for many parents. So we thought, let's have Dorothy back. We'll take your questions. You can ask the question down underneath the video in the comments section, and Dorothy and I will chat about them. Dorothy's actually the expert. I'll just chat. But Dorothy will answer your questions. I'll chat. We'll have a lot of fun.
Fantastic. And aren't we giving away something?
We are giving away. So the first person to ask a question this morning, sleep-related or settling and resettling, that's what we thought we'd be good to talk about today, is, well, apparently we've got questions already, but the first question, person that ask a question gets Dorothy's book, You Simply Can't Spoil a Newborn, and her DVD, her videos on a USB that's with them here. Yeah. Video tutorials on how to do everything from swaddling to bathing to burping
to feeding,
everything. So we're going to give those away later on today. But we've got questions apparently. I just need to see them on my screen here.
And then we can start.
And then we can just start chatting with our people. This is so exciting. Thank you for joining us. Got a question already. Oh, how many naps a day should a 6-month-old be having?
Two.
Yep, easy. 2.
Yep. Because basically they're up for wake cycles about 2 3/4 to 3 hours, minimum of 2 naps a day, and hopefully having really good sleeps at night. And a nap is from when they put their bottom on the mattress to when you get them up. So it's not that they don't have to necessarily sleep for that length of time. Ideally they are, but it does take time. So if it takes time for them to self-settle, to resettle, then the nap will be slightly longer. Yeah.
Great. And as we said last time, if you need any more of Dorothy's advice, which everyone does, let's be honest.
Thanks.
Yeah. Get her book. It's available at Whitcoulls. Go to her website. Dorothy's website is babyhelp.co.nz.
Yes.
Not sure if you can read these. Our technology is somewhat limited, but babyhelp.co.nz. And you can also ask Dorothy and any of our OHbaby experts a question at ohbaby.co.nz/ask-our-experts. So if we don't get to you today, do stay in touch and we will be sure to help you out. Here's another question. My 2-year-old has started wanting me to lie with her until she falls asleep in the evening. If I leave her, she will scream, "Mummy," and not give up. I've tried closing the door if she doesn't stop yelling, etc., but it makes no difference. Any suggestions? Now this is great because today we wanted to talk about settling and resettling babies, but also toddlers. So it's tricky. The 2-year-old that doesn't want to be left in their bed screaming mummy, what would you suggest?
Okay, we've got a great article on the OHbaby website and also on my website under media about bedtime battles, and it is dealing with all the different types of toddler issues. Yeah. But with anything to do with sleeping and settling, I do go back to their daytime routine. Yeah. I would want to know how long their naps are, if they're still having naps. I would also want to know what their diet is. Yeah. And also cause and effect during the day. A lot of things during the day, we're all busy. How often do we say to a toddler, if you do this, we're not going to do this? So it's cause and effect. So make sure that if you actually say, if you don't do this, we're not going to do this, that you follow it through. Because then when you go to put them in their bed in the evening, they've got those good boundaries. Because in the daytime, they think, oh, we'll push, we eventually get what we want. You put them to bed and that's exactly what happens. Yeah. My biggest bit of advice for toddlers is I don't read stories in their bed. I don't.
Don't you?
No, because it's so hard to get out. Yeah. The 21 and a half years that I spent overseas, I would listen to mums and nannies trying to get out of that toddler's bedroom, and sometimes it's 2-3 hours.
Right.
So I tend to cuddle up with them on a sofa or on my own bed. Yeah. And then we walk into the bedroom where they go to sleep. Yeah. And I pop them in bed, kiss them goodnight, tell them I love them, sing a song if I do that, especially with the babies, and I keep singing it till I walk out the room, and then off I go. With this age group, you can't just, because she wants you to lie down with her, think about it if you want to cuddle during the day. Yeah. We just want. Yeah. Okay, so pop them into bed and then sit on the floor. Yeah. And do that for 10 days. And for 10
days.
Yep, everything you do is for a minimum of 10 days.
And that's key, isn't it? You've got to be consistent for a length of time. 10 days it could take.
Yeah, and consistency is only 80%. We're human.
Okay.
So the first 3...
You have an off day.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, gosh, I do.
Good.
The first 3 to 4 days are days from hell. That's what, you know, and then we all give up on day 2. And that's okay, I do as well. You do as a parent, don't you?
Never,
No,
never,
oh, you're perfect, aren't you? Awesome. But then we've got to get through to day 10.
Yeah.
And you've got to do it. It's all about us doing it. Parenting is a lifelong journey. Parenting to sleep is part of that. I don't do sleep training, I do parenting to sleep.
Parenting to sleep.
Big difference.
So for this 2-year-old, it's going to be
sit on the floor.
Consistency.
Yep, in the daytime.
Clarity over what is to be expected.
Take out excess sugar and after lunchtime, so that's fruit. Most toddlers have had their 2 fruit servings by lunchtime. Fruit, puddings, yogurts, and cheese. Cheese can contribute to nightmares and night terrors. Take all of those out from after lunch. And if that's only their stable diet, well, you've got choices. But they will learn to fall asleep better without being hyped up. Good bedtime routine. Try and keep the house as calm as possible. Watch what they're watching on TV or books you're reading them so that they're not scary. And then I would pop her in bed. Now, I would sit there. There's lots of ways of doing it. I often say, I'm going to the loo, because they hear me say that in the day. But there's another theory that you actually sit with them for a certain time. Then you say, I'm going to go and get my book. And you come back in and sit in with your book, and you actually read it in a real boring voice. So that they, you know, very low tones. Then you say, Mummy is going to take her book out and sit in the lounge. So they can visualise what you're doing. The toddlers
they like to know where you are and what you're doing.
Yep. And that's also a good one. You can, if it's shutting doors, that's fine. I mean, sometimes if they can open the doors, then I put, you know, the gate on the door if they can't do the gate. Otherwise, you've got to do police patrol at the door. But do it slowly. Do each step for 10 days and then move slowly backwards.
Good. And there's lots we could say on this topic, obviously.
Oh, we could go for hours.
I'm going to post links on our Facebook page after we've done this session. And so you can go to our website and find lots of articles where we've covered these sorts of issues, because they're very common, happens all the time. Same things, parents are facing the same sort of issues. Now, my questions are rolling through quite quickly, so I need to keep up with them. Helen asked before, how do you get a 6-month-old down from 3 sleeps to 2 sleeps? And I remember this stage. They're moving their amount of sleeps in the day. That was fine, but if we went for a drive, for example, they would conk out at the wrong time. And so, how do you reduce sleeps?
Okay, by stretching out their wake cycles. So as they start to grow, like a 0 to 6 week is up 45 minutes to an hour. 6 to 12 week is an hour now to an hour and a half. 4 months, 2 hours. 5 months, 2.5. 6 months, 3 hours. Guidelines only. They're all different. So let's just say I've got a 6-week-old baby doing 45-minute wake cycles. Then I'm going to stretch them out 15 minutes every wake cycle. So I probably will automatically lose 1 nap off at the end of the day. Then I'll hold that for 10 days. At the end of the 10 days, I stop, think, and act. The act is my baby ready to go to the next one? No, so I hold there for another 10 days. The end of the 20 days, I do tend to move, because we're the teachers, we're the only the babies aren't going to do it. And if you do tiny baby steps, subtle steps, you'll get big rewards.
So you can teach them, you can train them with a bit of 10 days and some readjustments, and then
okay, and then you keep stretching. So to get the 6-month-old into from 3 to 2 naps, you're stretching their wake cycles out.
Great. Here's another one about settling. A 5-week-old, my 5-week-old, is that too young to teach him to settle and resettle? Should I wait till he's a bit older?
Absolutely not. I start from newborns. Now, I've got a little newborn baby here.
Dorothy's bought her baby. What's his name?
Sammy today. Sammy. So did you say a 5-week-old baby?
5-week-old.
Okay, so Sammy wakes. The first thing I do when Sammy wakes, if he's in his cot, I go in, I open up the curtains. If I've got tinfoil on the windows, I turn a light on. I want him to see the difference between light and dark. And as I go into the room, Sammy's crying. I go, Sammy, you've done an amazing job. Mummy's so proud of you. Opening up the curtains, I start telling him what we're going to do for the day. I then go over, I unswaddle. Now, he doesn't care if he's got poo running down his legs, okay? Wrap a cloth around him, put him on the boob or the bottle, because they feed better as soon as they wake. This is for a newborn baby, not an older baby. Once I've fed, burped, changed and everything, and he's ready to be swaddled, I swaddle him. And the best thing I can tell you, I'm a bit lazy. I don't do this step when I'm working in a home, if I can get away with it. So Sammy's been up 5 weeks?
5 weeks old.
5 weeks. He's been up nearly 45 minutes, 50 minutes. So I'm going to go and put Sammy in his cot. So I walk in, put Sammy in the cot, dump and run, don't hover like a helicopter, shut the curtains. He's in a black room because dark is for sleeping.
He associates that
I walk out the door as soon as Sammy cries. He's 5 weeks, if I want to, I could leave him for a minute. I'm not going to leave him for a minute because he's calling me.
Yeah.
So I go in, I pick up Sammy, and I engulf Sammy. Now, this is me holding a baby. This is me engulfing a baby. And I get
show
quite
us the
firm.
engulfing, because you talk about engulfing a lot in your book.
Very firm.
And you need to see it to really experience it.
So we're hoping it's on camera.
Yeah, I'm just going to have a look. Yeah.
So I'm sitting here, I'm engulfing him. Now, I get slung by the left wingers because I don't believe there's a no cry sleep solution. Crying is their form of communication. So I want Sammy to tell me what he's feeling. Yeah. I want Sammy to tell me what he's doing. Yeah. So up here, I visualize what I do when I go to sleep. I watch TV and play video. Solitaire. I don't play videos. I watch solitaire. Play solitaire and watch TV. Yeah. Now he can't do any of those, but he's a little miniature me. So he's got to be able to find his sleep, knowing fully well he cannot self-soothe or resettle. He doesn't get the tools on until between 12 to 16 weeks. So I am now going to start teaching my little person how to self-settle, because it's the first 12 weeks that their tools will hook onto. Yeah. I don't want to do rocking and walking and swinging and swaying and Swiss balling, because I look at my cot. My best bit of advice is don't do anything in arms you can't replicate in cot. So I
need to be able to do it in the cot.
Yep. Yeah. So you can either, if you're not bluey or postnatal, sit in the dark room. Otherwise, I go out to the sitting room or into my room where the TV is, and I will sit and I will engulf them. Yes, babies need dark to go to sleep because their brain only kicks in and produces melatonin in the dark. But for some unknown reason, if you've got them in their arms, they can sleep anywhere. Yeah, but if I've got an overactive, overstimulated baby, I'll cuddle them up close them up like that. But I will only do that if they're very stimulated. So I sit, I make sure I haven't got it, but both my arms need to be supported. And I've got my TV, lots of TV video programs recorded, and I sit and I'm going to let Sammy
have you got those on quiet though? Is the
very
noise?
Quiet, very quiet. And sometimes I don't do it until they're sort of, I've got them settled, but depends on, how I'm feeling. Do I need to be distracted? Yeah. And it's easier. What we want to do is look straight ahead with one eye going down there. Yeah. You visualize if you're trying to go to sleep and somebody's doing this and talking to you. Oh yeah. How would you feel? And I feel babies, and you watch your baby. I've seen babies really rev up when mums and dads are doing this.
So they don't actually want that eye contact when they're trying to go to sleep.
Body is powerful, touch is powerful. Yeah. Tact, time, acceptance, consistency, and touch. Consistency is 80%. Yeah. So my rule of thumb is Sammy can cry for a minute for every week he is, but never exceed 5 minutes. Okay. He's 5 minutes. He's crying in my arms. Yeah. So I allow him to cry. And I've only got 2 minutes because it's quite solid. Yeah. So then I start what I call my cupping. Now this is me walking my baby. Yeah. This is me rocking my baby. Now if I've got a reflux or colicky baby, my hand's quite firm there because the pain is around there, and I'd probably cup like that or like that, or I could do a pat and a rock. Okay, you've got to work with your baby and find what movement they like. I do different movements for every baby. Yeah. He keeps crying at me, so I stop because cupping and shushing is hard work. And I let him cry for exactly the same length of time I did that first time. So 2.5 minutes. Then I start cupping, and my shushing is like this. Shh.
Like air coming out of a tire.
That's right.
That's right, isn't it?
Yep. Shh. He keeps crying, so I stop. Yeah. I let him cry for another 2.5 minutes. And you know what? I've cried with my babies. If you're feeling bluey, let the tears come out. At the end of that time, I will give him his dummy, and my body will support and hold the dummy in, and I start cupping and shushing. He keeps crying, so I stop. I stop and start until I connect with my baby, and then I cup and shush and dummy to sleep. Now, at the end of that stage, everyone wants to jump up and put the baby to bed. I go, my gosh, that was hard work. Let's watch Coronation Street. Put it down low. Yeah. And a lot of when I work with people overseas, I'd say, can you hear that TV? And I'd go, yep. Because I'm watching it as well. And I can lip read quite well.
And I think that's a really good point for new parents out there. Is this can be really stressful, this whole experience.
Oh, yeah.
If you are feeling stressed and anxious, baby is going to feel that as well. And you said before, so if you need something to distract you as the parent trying to settle the child, find something that works.
Absolutely.
A distraction and a calmer for you.
And you need both hands on your baby.
Yeah, so knitting's not
knitting, iPadding,
hands for baby, but eyes
hands,
you can...
and your eyes. Now, once he goes to sleep, I sit back. Now, before I sat down with him in my arms, I've got my drink, my snacks, and everything I need, okay? Now, every time Sammy stirs, I start cupping. So if I miss the beat, then I'll give him the dummy.
Yeah.
And that means that I'm resettling him. I'm putting him into the next sleep cycle or keeping him in because they wake up and down. And around that 45-minute mark, you might end up cupping for about 15 minutes. It's hard work, okay? Now, if you've got carpal tunnel, which I have, I tend to put my hand like that to do it if I'm doing that movement because it's straighter.
Yeah.
I tend to hold them for up to an hour and a quarter. Yes, that's what being a parent with a newborn baby is about, is giving them that ability, that time to teach them how to self-settle and resettle.
So that, just to recap, this is a baby that you have put down to bed and has not gone to sleep.
Yep, he cried.
You tried the bed first.
He cried.
Yeah.
I picked him up immediately because he's under 12 weeks.
He's under 12 weeks.
He's a newborn baby.
And now, you're laying foundations at this stage for being able to self-settle.
Absolutely, because they get the tools on board between 12 to 16 weeks. So if we could get across to the two mums and dads that all this excessive rocking and prams with cords and things like that, walking, riding, it's harder then to teach them to sleep in a cot when they're older.
Yeah. Because
you're getting them drowsy, you're putting them to sleep with all this movement.
Yeah.
Then around 16 weeks, when they've got the tools on board, they've got no idea how to fall asleep in a still place.
Yeah.
Okay? So around that hour and a quarter that I've had him in my arms, he's fast asleep, I start cupping, I stand, I go in the room and put my baby in the cot. Now, how lovely is that?
Not the coffee table.
The coffee table. This is our cot.
Example. Yeah.
Now, I've learned how he sleeps because I felt his body against me. I've cupped him through every sleeping cycle. Yeah. And I've got him past that 45-minute wake cycle.
Yeah.
Okay, if they're waking about 20 minutes, it's normally digestive, and I will. That's another thing. I'll always deal with the digestive and then try and resettle them. Yeah. But you've got to remember that babies do not know how to self-soothe and resettle. Self-settling is not. Self-settling is not about getting your baby drowsy and putting them in the cot and then finishing them off there. Self-settling is starting with your baby's eyes wide awake.
Yeah. And just getting them right through to that sleepy place. So,
yes, I do teach my babies to self-settle and resettle under 16 weeks, but I do it as much in my arms as possible.
Got it. Yeah. Okay, my 6-month-old, this is a question from another Helen, different Helen, goes down awake happily during the day and settles to sleep, sleeps nicely, gets the day sleeps right, but at night it's a completely different story. Screams and wants me to cuddle him to sleep. He's only sleeping for 2.5 hours. The question's just moved.
Oh no!
How inconvenient. But what would you suggest for that? So the day sleeps are working out okay. Nighttime is some night waking happening.
Okay. First of all, as long as he's going into his cot wide awake, great. I would be looking at how long are his wake cycles.
Yeah.
And also, what are you doing in the wake cycles? So for a 6-month-old baby, they can wait up to half an hour for food.
Yeah.
Then I give them solids and milk, or milk and solids, or part milk, solids, part milk.
Yeah.
I treat my babies individually. I'm not PC, and I respond to my baby's needs.
Yeah.
So I find
it sounds like a pretty good idea.
Yeah, it is a really good idea. And they get this milk and solids, or solids and milk, or part milk, solids, milk together. It's one meal.
Yeah.
So therefore their milk feed won't be huge. Then they play, they rock and roll, do whatever they want, and then 15 minutes to half an hour, depending on the baby, I will give them what I technically call their morning and afternoon tea before their 2 naps. So they get their milk feed, they then go into their sleeping bag, and then they go to bed. So it's feed, step, which is sleeping bag or swaddle, and sleep.
Yeah.
At night time, I would be looking at what is he eating. Again, take out, if you're giving him straight fruit or cheese, or in particular red meat, I would take it out of the evening meal, because red meat is really hard to digest, and I, in my experience, wouldn't have a 6-month baby on red meat. But it's up to the individual parent to what you do. But I would be looking at, why is he not going to bed as well? Right. He could also be hungry if you haven't started solids. Yeah. Okay? So his evening routine would be, he wakes, he has his little break, he feeds, which again is solids, milk, or milk, solids, or part milk, solids, part milk. Yeah. I then bath him. Yeah. Then I refeed him. Yeah. Now, if my babies aren't going down, now if his wake cycle also is longer then his other 2 wake cycles in the day, he's overtired.
When it comes to bedtime.
Yep, and overtired babies take longer to fall asleep. So therefore he is going to cry longer.
Yeah.
So the other thing is if he doesn't settle, the wake cycles are similar to the rest of his 2 daytime ones, then I would refeed him. So if he goes into his cot, falls asleep for his naps within 20 minutes, and he's not doing that in the evening, I get him up, I refeed him, and then I start my settling again. Because don't forget, babies cluster. I would say he's not getting enough solids, or it could be something that's affecting him with feeding solids.
Yeah. Can they get into habits though? I remember my babies would wake at the same time every night, and you hear these theories. Is it habitual waking? You know, that 3 a.m. I've got a question here. Someone's saying, there's a 3 a.m. wake for her 15-month-old. What do you think? Is it habitual, or are they actually hungry, or?
A 15-month-old baby doesn't need feeding overnight.
No,
so
that
therefore,
answers your question,
do they know how to resettle?
Yeah.
Again, look at the daytime routine. What foods is he eating during the daytime?
Yeah.
But 3 years ago, because I never would feed my babies excessive fruit because it's just sugar.
Yeah.
So I would never have to look at their diet. But about a couple of years ago now, I think it was 2014, I had about 6 families, 6 to 18 months.
Yeah.
All terrible night wakers. All I did was, and I just went, whoa, look at all their fruit that they're all having.
Yeah.
Different parts of New Zealand, took all their fruit out. For the
saw
reflux babies, took out the reflux foods that were affecting them if necessary. And they all became sleepers. The mothers couldn't believe it.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So that's something to try first off anyway.
Yep.
Cut down on fruit, especially in the afternoon.
Yeah, and yogurts and cheese. And babies don't need desserts.
Yeah.
Okay, it's, we're meant to be teaching babies and parents healthy eating choices.
Yeah.
So why are we encouraging mothers to give the babies fruit every meal, fruit with their vegetables and puddings?
Yeah.
None of that is healthy eating.
Watch out for the sugar. Yes. Okay. Getting a 2-year-old moving from being a co-sleeper into his own bed and bedroom, that's a bit tricky. What do you suggest when someone is saying, right, it's time for my child, my 2-year-old in this case, to be sleeping in their own bed when they have previously been co-sleeping?
Why do you want why all of a sudden do you want your 2-year-old to stop co-sleeping with you?
Could be anything. But, how do you make that transition when you need to?
Well, how would you like me to move you out of your husband's bed? It's, you're changing a lifetime habit. Yeah. So you've got to do it very slowly.
Gradually. Okay, so that's the key.
So I would have a bed in his room.
Yeah.
And I would put him in his cot.
Yeah.
And I would lie next to him and pretend to go to sleep on the mattress.
Yeah, you could say, hey, you and I, we're going to sleep in a different room.
Yep.
And just move to his room.
Yep.
And
then it's, again, very slowly. You've got to give him appropriate time to self-settle.
Yeah.
I wouldn't leave him, if you don't want to lie in the bed when he's going to first sleep, I would never leave anyone for longer than 20 minutes without checking in or responding.
Yeah.
And it does depend on the cry. If he was way up here, I'd be in the room lying on the bed because he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So you're
it's
actually,
a big change. Yeah.
You're taking him back to being a newborn and bringing him forward.
Yeah.
So there's going to be it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of touch. So
Yeah.
there will be, a lot of touch. You might have to have your bed right next to the cot.
Yeah.
And so that you can put your arm through the bar and he's touching.
Yeah.
And slowly move out. Lots of things you can put, a t-shirt that you've worn next to him.
Oh, that's a good idea.
But I really believe that he needs you. He doesn't need anything. He needs you.
Yeah.
He doesn't need a substitute for you.
Yeah.
So very slowly. The other way is if he does start off in his cot at night or his bed and he walks through, then you have a mattress on the floor and you start teaching him to sleep there. Yeah. Like if you want to sleep with mummy and daddy or with 2 mums or 2 dads, whatever the parenting style is that they go on the mattress on the floor.
Yeah.
And they actually quite like that.
Do you find though with 2-year-olds, they're pretty smart, you could make it really exciting that they've got their own, they've got their new room, they've got a new bedspread, they've got...
Oh, absolutely.
They get into stuff like that.
Yeah, and they're testy. They are very testy and they're very territorial. So give them their space. Yeah. And and if you can't do it in their room, again, make that mattress on the floor. Yeah. Really exciting.
Yeah. So it's going to be a gradual process, a big shift like that, but it is possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Takes a minimum of 10 days to see a dim light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. Yeah. The first 4 days are the days that it's really consistent. Yeah. And they're going to be days from hell. Yeah. You'll give up on day 2. That's okay. Then start again. Have a break.
Give it a go. Yeah. Yeah. Here's a question, and we have already talked about this, but I think it is worth clarifying. At what age do babies start learning sleep habits? Now, you said basically from the get-go.
Yep.
So with our newborns, we are very careful to be laying a healthy foundation. I'm just recapping to show that I've been listening.
Oh, good.
Is this right? Am I
yes,
doing well?
Yes, it is.
So we're laying good, healthy foundation, not introducing behaviours or strategies or tricks that you cannot replicate in the cot.
Not doing a quick fix.
No quick fixes.
You know, if we rock a baby or walk a baby or drive a baby or sway a baby or put them in a buggy with a cord on the floor and rock them back and forth, of course they're going to go to sleep. They love movement.
Yeah.
But remember when they were in the womb, was it large movements that they were experiencing, or was it nice subtle movements? You know, what was their movement in their womb?
Yeah.
So that's why I do the movement on their body, a nice subtle.
Yeah.
Okay? Swiss balling, every mother I know that Swiss balls, or every one that I've worked with in my experience.
So to clarify, that would be holding baby and
bouncing up and down on the ball.
Yeah.
They all suffer back issues.
Oh, back issues. Well, that would be terrible.
It is. And how long can you sustain it for?
It's got to be sustainable. That's the key, isn't it?
Yep. When I'm looking at a newborn baby, I go, what do I want to be doing when they're 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months?
Yeah.
And babies get heavier.
Yeah. And so we're laying foundations. They are learning from the get-go, really, to answer that question. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually the crucial thing is that babies do not get the tools on board to self-soothe or resettle before 12 to 16 weeks. So in my experience, when I'm working with people in the home, it takes me 16 weeks to teach a baby to resettle.
Yes.
And that's in arms.
Yeah.
And that's putting a lot of time in it.
Yeah.
And yes, you can do it with more than one baby.
Yeah.
We did an OHbaby in Nelson a few years ago.
Yeah.
And this woman who set up, she had 5 children. She came up to me. She said, I love what you're talking about. She said, because I've done it with all my children.
Yeah.
I went, how did you do it with 5 children?
Yeah.
She said, you just do it.
Yeah.
And you just do it. I have toddlers hanging off me.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a photo feeding a baby with a bigger child, the next child on top of them, and their friend's baby sitting on top of them, and we're feeding a bottle.
Yeah. And it's like one of my favourite mantras, short-term pain for long-term gain.
Absolutely.
If you are working on, effective, good practice, it's going to be rough, but for 10 days at least, if you are being consistent with it, you will see results. So it might be 10 days with toddlers hanging off you and preschoolers needing all of this, but if the whole family comes on board and says, this is what we need to do to get Sammy to sleep, it's better, this is what we have to do.
Easier to do that with a newborn baby than an older baby.
Yeah, yes.
And I've got plenty of clients who can tell you that.
Yeah. And there's heaps of questions here. We haven't got time for them all. We actually have to wrap up pretty soon. But just a reminder, do go to our website, ohbaby.co.nz/ask-our-experts, and you can ask Dorothy a question there. Go to her site, babyhelp.co.nz, and there's all sorts of resources on there.
Yes, and don't forget my book.
Yes.
You Simply Can't Spoil a Newborn.
Here it is.
And the USB tutorials. And just so you all know, the USB tutorials have been picked up by a company in the States who is setting up a big training program, which they're hoping over time to bring down to New Zealand.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's exciting. And I will also post links. We'll be posting links this afternoon on our Facebook page to questions, sort of to cover questions that have been asked in this session. So people can click on our OHbaby website and get more information. We've probably got time for one more question before we have to sign off for today. Which one shall I take? The old daytime, nighttime mixed up. My 11-week-old sleeps 7 to 9 hours at night, but will sleep through feeds in the day. Should I wake her in the day or leave her to sleep?
What was she doing at night time?
She was sleeping 7 to 9 hours. That's
fantastic.
Awesome.
Okay, so what we're looking at is to ensure we get some food in during the day.
Yeah.
So basically she could do true 4-hourly feeding during the day, which means that 11 weeks she's up probably for about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And she could nap until, so if we fed her at 10 o'clock, she fed at 10, then the next feed we want to be doing is by 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's doing true 4-hourly feeding because it's a sleeping rhythm that dictates how often they feed.
Yeah.
So newborn babies can feed anywhere as short as 90 minutes to 4-hourly during the day.
Yeah.
I never wake a baby overnight because the longer they sleep at night, the more sleep I get.
Yes. So just leave them overnight.
Leave them overnight. I don't do dream feeds because the dream feeds are between 10 and midnight, which is their deepest sleep time. We think we're going to get a bit of sleep, but in fact, if we let them sleep there, then eventually they will go longer.
Yeah.
And don't forget, parenting is a lifelong journey, and parenting to sleep is part of that lifelong journey. Yeah. And aren't your parents still parenting you?
Yes, they are. Every day.
Okay, therefore, it's a lifelong.
I bring them sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's a lifelong journey. I can't say that because my parents aren't with me anymore, but for you guys,
it is a lifelong journey. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Consistency is key. 80% of the time, though, as you say, like, let's be fair. Let's be kind to ourselves. Let's do what we can to get through. And if that means having an off day where you just sleep with baby on the couch.
Perfect.
So be it.
Perfect.
So be it.
Better than walking and rocking and swinging and swaying.
Yeah. And when you have a day when you need to put the wiggles on for your toddler for...
Oh, absolutely.
Let's just do it. Be kind to ourselves so that we can get through this.
Yeah, educational programs. And also, I do encourage one moving nap a day. So don't think...
moving nap.
Yeah, which means that you go for a lovely walk, put the baby in the buggy, get out, you do your shopping, you meet your friends. Yeah. You've got to be flexible. Yes. You've got to be, and don't forget anything we've talked about, anything you see on my website is guidelines only. And sometimes you'll try the guidelines, they won't work because you're missing something.
Yeah.
And that's important. You need to be able to talk to a consultant to work through what you're doing, because sometimes it's 3 heads are better than one, and the consultant is looking from the outside. You are your baby's expert.
You are your baby's whisperer. That's right.
Yeah, and your baby's whisperer.
Dorothy is very wise and very experienced, but you are your baby's expert. That's
absolutely.
That's what you tell people, isn't it?
Yep.
We are going to have to sign off very soon. Tune in next Friday for Friday Live, and we've got our nutritionist coming in, Anna Hansen, the OHbaby nutritionist. We're going to be talking about kids' snacks, so good things to fire at the kids when they are hungry, which is pretty much most of the day. So do come and see us again next Friday, 10:30 a.m. here on Facebook. Thank you so much for your time, Dorothy.
My pleasure.
Again, there's been more questions than we've had time to answer, but we will keep in touch with these people and see if we can help you out. And go to the websites if you need any more information. We will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.